Hello, this is Stormbringer, the latest lightning dragon from LEGO Ninjago, and I think it's pretty cool. Let's take a closer look at it though. LEGO's dragon heads over the years have been a bit hit or miss, and they've used many different techniques to get the details of them. Sometimes they've done practically all specialized, molded, and pre-printed heads. They've done purely brick-built heads for all of the detailing. They've kind of gone in between the two. This is almost exclusively brick-built here, with the exception of, on each side, one single decorated piece. And I have great news. That right there is not a sticker. That is actually a printed exclusive brick that is on just one side. And they actually did a separate print for the other side that is mirrored. So it is proper. It's good quality stuff. It's not going to peel off over time, and it's printed almost to the very edge of the brick, at the back of it and at the base there. So really good stuff, and I'm just so happy for Ninjago fans that they'll be able to get that detail in there, and not have to apply a sticker. It's just a good thing, I think, for fans in general. The mouth is able to open and close here. There are spring-loaded shooters inside of the head. You can see two of them. You need to open the mouth to be able to fire them off. The tails of those are back here, and you just use your finger to fire those off. I personally do not like this section of the neck back here. It looks and feels very blocky compared to the rest of the model, the entire model, but that's just the one section that I don't like so much. You can move all these things around. You know, you can move this up and down, move the spikes in and out. You got the horns. They can be brought up, kind of change the look, make it look a little bit agitated like that, in my opinion. Bring that down, you know, kind of looking at it like a bird analog. You can change the angles of these small barbs at the end to change the look just a little bit. The neck joint, you know, it's got this long neck. Again, kind of blocky here and a little bit stiff, but that's all just on a ball joint. And there's a fair range of motion here. You can get it to come down, you can get it to go up quite a bit, so that's good. You can twist it from side to side. And as you move back, you start to see, in my opinion, more interesting looking designs and shapes. All this stuff here for the kind of vestigial winglets is nice uses of pieces. Again, you can move stuff around, you can change angles of things relative to each other, pose those up however you want. You can also get them out of the way of the front legs if you need, for the sake of articulating those are able to come back quite a bit while you're in a flying pose. You can bring them forward. You've got the ankle joint there. All 4 feet are the same. The toes can move up and down a little bit. Only 2 toes. No elbow or knee joints on this, but I feel like it's fine for what it is. You can splay the legs all the way out like so as well. I think it goes a little bit farther than that. Yeah. Or you can bring them back in. So a pretty good range there. Exactly the same thing as what you'll see for the rear legs here. They went with a pretty bold color scheme. A lot of contrast between the blues, the regular blue and the dark blue, and then this fire orangish yellow color, which I think looks pretty cool for the entire belly. And they gave it a lot of shape for the center, this real serpentine shape for the body, and that is fixed. It's not going to move from there, but I think it looks good. I think that it has some nice movement. It's so much better than having something that's very squarish. And these pieces suggest scales as well, gives you some texture in there. And then you also get this very lively tail. This is nice. As long as you have it fairly level with the ground, you just turn this gear on the top. It's just done in black. It really kind of fits into the color scheme, doesn't stand out, and you can either kind of get it into that little bit of motion where it really looks like there are separate muscles in there. That looks so cool to me and looks so organic. Or you can, you know, take it back and forth for more of the striking motion. And this can come pretty far forward. Too bad the I almost said dinosaur. The dragon is not able to bend in the center. Otherwise, you would really be able to get an attack out of that. But you can always just turn the whole thing around to do an attack with that, and you can just sweep the ground, you know, just rotate the whole thing around. You have several places on this where you can attach things, clips onto this, so figures can hold on to that and anything clip-like, and I'll actually show you an example of something that can be used in this set to connect to those places. And then this right here is the saddle, and this can be removed also the way that they did it, which is kind of cool. It's very easy to do that, so it kind of adds to the imaginative play possibilities quite a bit, because you can think of saddling up the dragon, you know, taming the dragon, becoming friends with it, and then saddling it up once it allows you to do so, rather than always having that piece on there and just kind of having to imagine it not being there, or either that or having to do some disassembly to take it off while it's in its fully wild form. So that's pretty cool. The reins, I think, work out pretty well. I just think it's a nicely done dragon overall. I'm very happy, again, for to have the printed pieces up front. The size is nice, articulation is sufficient, colors are good, and it was enjoyable to build. It felt like I was really putting this together. You know, it doesn't have too much in the way of really specialized pieces, so it feels like a proper Lego build, and it feels very playable. It's also fairly sturdy, fairly swishable. I don't feel a lot of things that want to fall off. The things that will move most annoyingly are the spikes, but that's about the worst that will happen with them if you're just playing with this rough. Maybe these things will get a little bit out of line, but it's not a big deal. So I think this will make a good toy as well. This is the side build for the set. It kind of looks like an anvil. You could see it as just a pedestal of sorts, but it looks kind of anvil shaped to me. And it's just holding on to a single piece of dragon armor. So they just have the chest piece here included in this set. Different sets from this series will have different parts, but this one only comes with a single one. Now, that is an awesome looking piece, in my opinion. The mold is great, and it's not necessarily reversible, but you can attach things to the back, so that's going to be useful and usable. Overall, the whole thing looks pretty good. It almost looks like it was designed to be able to be opened up, but they do have a couple of, interestingly, they have a couple of, let me just do this for you, a couple of, well, just the cheese slow pieces, which leave that open space inside. You could use that for something, but there's not really much that will fit in there. I don't know, it's just an interesting design decision there. The whole stand does not hold the armor very well, though. It just kind of sits on top. Now here we have a bad guy vehicle slash animal ride, if you will. It's honestly really a cyborg. It's the dude who has lost his legs, and he has a four-legged mech set up for himself. So he is technically a cyborg here. He is nicknamed Daddy No Legs. So it's a pun on the arachnid class Daddy Long Legs. Here he's called Daddy No Legs because evidently he lost his legs in a battle with a dragon. And I believe the dragon was defending itself because these guys are dragon hunters. Probably wasn't an offensive attack. And he has a weapon with a clip at the end of it, and he has a chain attached to that. He can fire that off and clip it onto the dragon, and you can simulate an attack on the dragon in that, in that way. The chain itself is not very long, but then once it attaches, the guy can kind of be dragged along by the dragon as it goes. So that's your primary reason for having all of those points where you can clip things on. This looks pretty good. I think it's better than most of the multi-legged kind of arachnoid style mechs that Lego has done for minifigs. It scales pretty well, I think. And yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. And there's what the guy looks like with nothing covering his face. Of course, there is no alternate face on this head because of his hairstyle with the top knot only, so this is all you get. Here's a look at Jay. I'm just going to continue with one figure at a time since they have some large accessories to show. He is here holding a dragon bone blade, dragon bone sword, with that wonderful new mold for the blade itself, and also a really nice mold for the hilt. And the other weapon, the new signature weapon for him, is officially, according to LEGO, a kusarigama, which is basically a sickle end chain. He's holding on to the weighted handle end right now. A good looking figure with good accessories. He's also got the sheath piece, so he can hold on to some swords on the back, although the dragon bone blade is a bit too thick. So honestly, nothing that he's currently holding can he actually hold back there, but if he gets some regular katanas, he can put those on. And there's that face with nothing covering it up. A little bit closer look at the detail of the prints on the front, and he also has prints on the back and an alternate face. So this is all good in my opinion. Here's Zane, of course, with his bow and quiver on the back, and the newer style of katana with the short base, so it just fits right into a hilt piece. Here they got the cross style part used just to give it a little bit different shape, but if you use a regular hilt, it's more of a normal length and size, just a little bit more bulky, but the blade itself is pretty much the same shape and size as the old ones. And you get the good dual molding for the headpiece, again, as with all of them. Let me take some stuff off. And there you go. A little bit of battle damage on the back. No alternate face because it is Zane, so you want to show the port on the back of his head. And this will also work with a proper hairpiece for him, although they do not include a proper hairpiece for him in this set. But everything looks good for what it is. Lastly, this bad guy henchman is named Muzzle, and I really like his staff weapon there with the dual curved blades. It's actually one single piece molded together, a good use of it. Notice that there is an Exoforce hand that's holding that on with a clip on it, so you can remove the blade there if you want and use that clip as another place to attach to the dragon for an attack kind of pose. Similar style of newer katana over here, just a different color of hilt. That one actually can be sheathed up on the back, or at least held on the back with this upper armor piece. You can just place it right through there, so that works really well. And again, let me take some more stuff off. And that lets you see the print underneath on the torso, which has a little bit of metallic print in there as well. You can see it as the light changes angle relative to it. Not the best looking prints on these, on the bad guys for this series in my opinion. The head and face looks pretty good, but I feel like the body and legs are lacking a little bit of detail compared to other lines. Here's one last feature of the set, in a manner of speaking. It has the ability to be integrated with LEGO Boost if you have a complete LEGO Boost toolkit, full set, and a tablet with which to run it. Then you can add the pieces together. They actually have on the Boost app presently the building instructions, and it has full tutorials for getting it done step by step, a little bit at a time. Also for programming it to allow it to be able to walk, kind of waddle on its own. They also have a single motor used to raise and lower the head, and they have the ability to do remote firing of the spring-loaded shooters there. I believe that occurs in conjunction with the motion of the head. I didn't look into that too closely, but they also have a color sensor that's used for the saddle when you build up the saddle with the sensor piece, so that if you put the wrong person in there, basically if it doesn't see blue when you put a person in there, then it'll try to eject. It'll try to buck his head up and knock the person out because it's not the right person. In my opinion, the legs really do not look good with the whole boost system set up, but otherwise most of the body actually integrates pretty well the way that they've done it. But this does require pieces from Stormbringer itself, plus a lot of the pieces that already, kind of the building pieces that already came with the boost kit. The actual Stormbringer set itself, though, I think is pretty good. Again, I just don't like this section here, but it feels like it would be pretty easy to modify that, to fill in some of that space if you don't want to use, or if you don't care to block the usage of the spring-loaded shooters especially. You can fill in some of that very easily with some additional basic slope pieces and such. But the body is really nice with its flow, with its motion, even though a lot of it is static. It is sculpted nicely, and then the tail works really well. The legs work perfectly fine, I think, and there's enough movement that you can get out of the head to make it expressive. I think the selection of figures is pretty good. I think the value here is pretty good. When you look at the price to part ratio, that gets a thumbs up. When you look at, or when I look at the price to volume of stuff, total stuff that I get here, and I look at the total size of the dragon, not just its length. I mean, it has pretty good length, but also the volume and or the total mass of it, and also the level of detail, so the quality of the build. I think that's all pretty good as well. The integration with Boost is, it's a nice novelty. Certainly you can customize many different things to work with the Boost system, but I don't see that as a major plus. It's more if you already have spent the big bucks to set up Boost and you have the tablet running in it and everything, then this makes for a good little side project to combine things together. But you do lose some Stormbringer when you make that combination, and I think that a lot of kids that try this will end up going back to this because this just looks cooler, I think, and works better too. It's easier to play with. Just my thoughts though. Feel free to share what you think about Stormbringer in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you again as soon as I can in the next video.